Welcome to Email After Hours by SenderScore, powered by Validity.
We're your hosts. My name is Guy Hansen.
And I'm Danielle Gallant, and this is Email After Hours. Listeners, today's episode of Email After Hours is being recorded on April 1st. So as you may guess, we are going to talk about April Fool's Day. And personally, I live in fear of a prank. Guy pranked me before we started recording, and it just makes me feel crazy. But this wacky day presents real engagement opportunities for email marketers. Like April Fool's emails can entertain your audience and help strengthen relationships between a brand and its subscribers when it is done correctly. I think I know the answer to this after this morning, Di, but what is your take on April Fool's Day in general? And tell me about how it started. You did some good research.
Hey, everyone loves a good joke. But I think answering the serious part of your question, Danielle, how did April Fool's Day start? You know what? We're not entirely sure. I had to do a bit of reading on this, and it turns out that it possibly goes back even as far as ancient Rome. But the more modern April Fool's custom that we're familiar with probably came from France back in 1564 when King Charles IX decreed the new year would no longer begin on Easter, but rather on January the 1st. And because Easter was always dependent on the lunar cycle, and it was therefore a movable date, those who persisted in clinging on to the old date were April Fools. And then on top of that, the timing of the day is possibly also related to the vernal equinox, the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, when people are often fooled by sudden changes in the weather. So there you go. There's your history lesson for today.
Who knew? I love this bit of historical context. And in recent years, there have been a ton of really good pranks pulled by brands to celebrate and maybe create some buzz for themselves around April Fool's Day. And you've got a couple good examples for us. Will you tell us, Guy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my personal favorite from my neck of the woods here in the UK, it actually happened before my time, but it was really legendary. In 1957, BBC Television ran a hoax, apparently showing the Swiss harvesting spaghetti from trees. And they claimed that the despised spaghetti weevil had been eradicated. And huge numbers of people contacted the BBC wanting to know how to cultivate their own spaghetti trees. So, I mean, that was a spectacularly successful prank. We often see April Fools in the newspapers and on the radio too. Another one I came across from your part of the world, Danielle. In 2008, CBC Radio in Canada interviewed a representative from the Royal Canadian Mint who broke the news of plans to replace the Canadian $5 bill with a $3 coin. And the coin was dubbed a threenie. And I believe that you'll understand the significance of that.
I do. We've got the loony and the toonie, and I'm both ashamed and heartwarmed by the idea of a threenie. So obviously, brands leverage promotional channels for April Fool's Day, and that definitely includes the email channel. I remember, I think it was an email that went out by it was probably a beauty brand, where it was like, you can smell, like if you scratch the screen of your phone, you can actually smell the scent of whatever they were promoting, which I'm not going to confirm or deny whether I blinked a couple times, may or may not have tried it. But let's run through a couple of favorite examples that we've seen. I'm about to go on vacation, so I had to mention this one campaign example from Flight Centre Australia. It's so cute. They introduced adult-free holidays, and it went something like, kids, are you over being dragged across Europe from one museum to the next? Sick of smiling for photos beside statues of some old guy? Or just fed up with being told to be quiet? Well, Flight Center's new product range has been created just for you. Our adult-free holidays offer you the chance to do the things the way you want. Basically, it was just this, skip school, skip your parents, go on holiday. And I just love
They
it.
were just kidding.
Ah, uh, April Fool's puns are allowed. They really are. And I think the reason I like this one so much is that it's kind of like the spaghetti tree, right? It's well intentioned, it's an obvious joke, and it kind of makes the brand more personable, which is not easy to do, maybe for an airline. How about you, Guy? Any favorite April Fool's campaigns that you've seen?
Oh, you know what? I mean, there's been some crackers over the years. I mean, we've seen McDonald's doing glow in the dark burgers. Tinder, believe it or not, has a great sense of humor. A while back, they did a promotion on April Fool's Day saying that they're going to introduce functionality to stamp out height phishing.
Finally, it's you talking about the dating sites.
And they also ran an ad looking for a VP of ghosting.
Oh my God, it's so
And
good.
another personal favorite, Duolingo, they promoted toilet rolls that you could like learn your language from, and like you'd have sort of the text in both versions on each sheet, including like really useful phrases like "my dog does not wear pants." So there's a few, but I think two standouts. I think the big one last year was Dunkin Donuts. So they ran this great promotion. Subject line was Dunkin debuts new name effective April 1st. And went on to inform its customers that it's time for some spring cleaning. They're not joking around, out with the old, in with the new. And they were really proud to notice that from here on, they were going to be known as just donuts. And they were themed offers of customized merchandise that you could purchase. And it was, yeah, hugely successful. Literally millions of people taken in by that one. Another personal favorite, cereal maker Magic Spoon. And they announced that the pudding bowl haircut was coming back into fashion and that their branded cereal bowls were the ideal size for the perfect trim. I mean, that was another great one.
Oh man, I feel so bad for parents and kids that fell over that one. What about today? Have you seen any today, Guy?
Oh, I have seen one absolute zinger. I'm going to have to give you a little bit of context because to help our North America listeners especially understand how good this was. But it came from Cotton Traders. And for context, they're a British clothing company. They specialize in leisure wear. And hopefully they'll forgive me for saying they're pretty middle of the road. Their marketing doesn't usually do anything to scare the horses.
Sure.
And the actress who is part of this campaign, Miranda Hart, she's a bit like another Bridget Jones. You know, she
Okay.
really can't resist inappropriate jokes, and she has similar appalling luck with her relationships. And relevant to today's story, that's at least partly due to her very unfortunate choices when it comes to underwear.
Oh, dokie.
So the email that dropped into my inbox this morning from Cotton Traders, subject line, Big Knicker News. Miranda Hart's new designs have landed. Now, this is like pretty out of context for Cotton Traders, so it immediately grabbed my attention. And I opened it up, and it went on to explain that award-winning comedian turned lingerie model Miranda Hart has announced her first ever brand collaboration with the launch of her very own Big Knicker range. And yes, it's as easy as it sounds. And then there's this brilliant sort of button, CTA, Shop Miranda's Pants. And then you click through and there's like different options. You can get one with Miranda's face on them and others with sort of slogans like Happy Farty Pants and I Love Snacks. And even a video where she sort of explains the origin story, you know, the inspiration behind these pants. And then finally, a CTA, and you click on it and it goes, April Fools. But even there, they sort of carry on with it. And there's a competition that you can enter to actually win some of these Miranda pants. So brilliantly executed and sort of huge call out to Cotton Traders. That's definitely my winner of the day today.
I recognize her. I was looking her up on my phone while you were telling the story because I needed a visual. She's like a comedian, right?
That's right. And did you ever know Morph, the little sort of plasticine claymation character?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
then I won't bore you with the details, but her dad was Tony Hart, and he was like this, you know, it was almost like Great British Bake Off for art, and that was his signature.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. I mean, obviously, there you go, everybody. There is a place for laughs and days like April Fools in email marketing. It goes without, there's no question anymore. And an Oracle study found that like a whopping 91% of consumers want brands to be funny, and 72% of consumers would rather buy from a funny brand than a competitor. But 95% of business leaders fear using humor in customer interactions. And I kind of get it, but that's such a discrepancy. Like, what do you make of that, Guy? And if you were pitching an April Fool's or humorous campaign to a company, how would you sell it?
Danielle, the way I think about it is actually, believe it or not, there's a bit of science involved here. I think laughter, you used the word a moment ago, laughter is associated with humanity and community. I think there's good reasons for that. If you can create a connection with your customers through humor, it's a great way to get your emails noticed. That's why the cotton traders email stood out so obviously to me today. And that's a fantastic way to drive real engagement. Humor makes your emails feel like a friendly gesture rather than a hard sell, more like a conversation. And it has some positive spin-offs. It makes brands more approachable and memorable and relatable. And all of these factors help you stand out from your competitors. And I think, especially during really high volume periods like Black Friday, a touch of humor can provide just a refreshing break from that relentless tsunami of sales messages with playful subject lines. You can grab attention. And as I say, it helps to humanize your brand. But of course, and this is probably why brands are a little bit nervous about using humor, like most things in the world of email, there's a time and a place. So your thoughts, Debbie, when you think of campaigns or email types that can appropriately incorporate a little bit of fun, what's the ones that are front of mind?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think of one of our favorite pet topics, Guy, and that is the oops email. If you've made some sort of small mistake, like a typo or a bad link or something like that, it is an ideal time to maybe poke a little bit of fun at yourself, for sure. There's also a load of opportunity to leverage humor really in triggered emails. So if your company has a particular tone of voice, introduce that in the welcome email. And incorporating a little charm and fun maybe into your win back campaigns can help reignite the connection a subscriber once had with your business and really entice them back. Also, product feedback emails instead of just, what did you think of X? With like a thumbs up or a thumbs down, make them laugh. Like, after all, I think you want subscribers to be in a really good mood before you ask for their thoughts and their feedback.
I just wanted to sort of chime in with one more because I actually think, believe it or not, you can even bring humor to service emails that they really benefit from. And, one of my personal favorite brands, and I've spoken about them once or twice before, is Firebox. They're like an online novelty store. And they have a sort of great, sort of humorous, sort of jokey persona that they talk to their customers with. They did a great Mother's Day email a few years ago, and it was like this rolling animated GIF, and it was going, for all those times, you went to dad when she'd already said no, or you sort of stayed out late and didn't call, or lost your shit when she forgot her password yet again. Put things right. Buy your way to a clean conscience. Shop now. That's how they talk to their customers. But this feeds right through into their transactional emails as well. And the last time I bought something from them, you get this itemized email sort of telling you exactly what you're going to be getting from them. And then in the small print, if you're reading this, then it's already too late to make any changes to your order. Sorry, no begging, please. We'll drop you another email when you know this one, once it's out the door, just to help the anticipation build a little, get the juices flowing. I mean, come on, Danielle, when's the last time you saw a sort of order confirmation with language like that in it?
I don't see them enough. That's for sure. I definitely don't.
Anyway, so back to your question. I think when it comes to doing humor right, there's probably a few pretty solid rules to live by. I think, firstly, to state the absolute obvious, know your audience. Make sure you understand their expectations, their cultural and social norms. And especially if you're a multinational program, remember that wordplay isn't always going to work for an audience that speaks your standard language as a second tongue. It might, best case scenarios, it's just not going to make sense. Worst case, it's going to sort of drop on the floor like a lead balloon. I think also be 100% sure that, the jokes that you're cracking align with your brand tone and also the products and services that you're promoting. If you are using puns, make sure they're relevant. Don't sacrifice the email just for the sake of a good joke. And seriously, just remember that sarcasm can be very easily misread.
Oh, yeah.
So when in doubt, it's always safest to poke fun at yourself or leverage a joke to address common misperceptions about your products. And that way you're not offending anyone. Safe and sure. And I think also, just as you were saying earlier, Danielle, keep those jokes fairly broad. Niche jokes can fall really flat. I'd recommend memes that highlight recent trends, maybe humorous quotes from the famous or the infamous, so that you can blame it on them rather than us. Or even something truly absurd. There was a great example recently from Who Gives a Crap toilet rolls.
Who knew that toilet rolls would be making
I
two
know, right?
appearances?
It's the theme of today, but listen to this. They were educating their customers about how long their toilet rolls are by creating these absurd comparisons. So they're as long as 62 baguettes, 12 jet skis, 67 wiener dogs, 563 thumbs, or 21 Tom DeLongs. And if you don't get that cultural reference, he's the lead man of Blink 182 and he's super tall, 1.93 meters. So
Wow.
if it was me, you'd get 22 guys out of the role of Who Gives a Crap. I think we can go on and on about funny examples and how to make the most of your April Fool's campaigns and your use of humor in general. But it's also really important to know when not to use humor too. So, Danielle, your thoughts in terms of what marketers should consider to be absolute no-nos when it comes to being funny?
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I'm about to bring the tone down, guy, after all of these examples that you've been giving. But yes, there are a couple of things to keep in mind for sure, whether this is an April Fool's Day campaign or you're just trying to incorporate humor. Certain sectors maybe shouldn't be sending an April Fool's Day campaign. Like, I don't need to hear a joke from my bank, for example. So, finance, healthcare, if you're communicating about a serious subject matter, we can do without the joke. And another one is demeaning the subject. It's just a no-no. It's rude. It's possibly offensive, and it can generate really bad word of mouth. And from a deliverability standpoint, it could mean spam complaints come in, your unsubscribes go up, and other just negative metrics that marketers are really hoping to avoid. So no degrading or demeaning who you're emailing, please. And lastly, maybe I'm wrong after all the examples the guy has given today, but double entendres, they can be a bit of a gamble. And I feel like that statement can stand alone. Don't you think?
What's a double entendre, Danielle? Is that like a fancy expression that you French-speaking Canadians use?
Absolutement. No. Double meanings.
You're right. Yeah, I think I saw a great one the other day. I saw a news article which headline was "Panda mating fails, veterinarian takes over." Is that a good one?
Wonderful guy. I don't know how it stacks up against the toilet paper stuff, but we're keeping it. And before we start to wrap up today's episode, I am craving yet another example. You've primed me for this, and I love it. Do you have a favorite, or maybe even a least favorite example of an April Fool's or a funny email that you want to share?
I think a brand that I generally admire for their use of humor is Virgin Atlantic. It just aligns so beautifully with their whole persona, which is they are a little bit of a rebel, they are a little bit of the industry disruptor, and the way they speak to their customers is a little bit sort of cheeky and a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But even they surpassed themselves a while back when Virgin America, their American division, ran this really cheeky fare sale. And to promote multi-city trips, they were sending out emails with subject lines along the lines of, "Make it a threesome. San Francisco, Las Vegas, and you. And so, as I say, bold, a little rebellious, exactly the image that attracted the company's loyal customers to them in the first place. And 100% making their emails stand out in the inbox and enhancing the promotion rather than distracting from it. And back to our previous point, hands up, they did use a double entendre, but they were clearly confident they knew their audience well enough to get away with it.
I stand corrected. Sometimes you can get away with it. And it makes sense. Honestly, Guy, never a dull moment recording with you. And thank you so much to everyone for listening.
And just to mention that while we were obviously flying solo today, Danielle and I are always super proud of the guests who usually join us on Email After Hours. And we're always looking out for great new guests to come and join us for future episodes. So if you'd like to join us on an upcoming episode, or if you've got any crazy April Fool's emails to share with us, drop us a comment, ping us on LinkedIn, or fill out the guest form that's linked to the show notes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all again in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now. Be sure to tune in next time and hit subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And don't forget to visit senderscore.com for loads more great resources to help you become a stronger sender.
To all you sleepless senders out there, thank you for joining us after hours, and see you next time.